So this is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited with the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilded 2 months ago. And on the night of Mr. Windibank's murder, the only item on the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick, let's open it and see what's inside. Good gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems. Wow! Although, in truth, I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement. Then, is it too much to expect? I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device for the playback of this disc, my lord. What if it's like a recording, like a ye old recording? So here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilded's disc deposited at Windibank's at much the same time. Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilded's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilded? I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord. Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to this curious disc. Didn't we try and it ended up being like a bunch of nothing? Like, right? Didn't we try with Mr. Sholmes at his house because he made that like print or like a copy of it and it just didn't work? Like maybe we had to flip it over or something. I don't know. Wait, my lord. Good grief, what is the meaning of this, Inspector? The music box and the disc they're unrelated. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music. This disc may very well be motivated, may very well have motivated the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly, there's every chance that it's fundamentally important to understanding what happened. The prosecution has no objection. But no, that piece of evidence is police property. Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interest here, but it is policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. Oh, he's very sus now. He's getting very sus. No further delays, please. Also, they seem to know each other too, because they were like talking to each other and whispering. Oh, maybe it's Morse code, right? Morse code because he's a communications guy. Oh, but then again, this wasn't even for him, was it? Like, it sounds more like Morse code than like actual music. Right? Because that lady is there too. Like, what a coincidence. She should know Morse code. What on earth? That's certainly not what I would call music. No. It's just the same note played over and over again in an irregular sequence. Mr. Graydon? This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept that this music box offers little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel? Oh, come on. Yes, alright, it does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music emanating from the music box possibly be? Yes, it could be. I believe that it could be relevant, my lord. Good lord. But how can it be? It's an abomination, counsel. Mere noise. I fail to see how it can have any meaning whatsoever. Why can't we ask? She should like chime in or whatever. She should know what it is. Right? Is that not... Sounds like Morse code to me. Like, if it's just like a bunch of do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do sounding stuff. Does sound strange, I agree. But there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, the inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponi's friend, answer me this. Oh. Just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on this case? It's the defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is not supposed to be music. Just because this is a music box doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be. Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Runo. The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us what they are not, I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponi's friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. They've got me. I don't know what the answer is yet. Runo? I've just examined the music box very thoroughly, and I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really? Really? The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway. Thank you, Iris. Alright, well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sound it's producing has some significance that isn't musical. Ah, could it be? Is that what these sounds are? Something's just struck me, Runo. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like this like the one this music box makes. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing. I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is in fact not music at all, then what the devil is it, counsel? Okay, all the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponi's friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. And if I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds. Oh no. Should I present the... Because I think this would be like where it was kind of... Because we don't really have any tangible evidence of like Morse code, but this is like the closest we can get because about like secrets and shit. Should I save? Whatever, I still have, you know what, I still have all my stuff. Here, take this. Today's paper, counsel? The headline is Pawnbroker Perishes in Pick Purse Blunder. Hardly supportive of your cause. No, my lord, I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page. Further down? Ministry mole? Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice? Yes, this is a very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand. I have heard that international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably, those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams? Of course. Juror number 5, your input, please. Stop. Oh, me, sir? Whatever is the matter. You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports? Oh, yes. We're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? Hmm? You don't mean to say, is it? That's right, madam. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code? But I don't believe it. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? Order! Please everyone, order! But this is high treason, counsel, deserving of capital punishment. Too much new vocabulary. What is this treason, and what is capital punishment? The sorts of words I'd half expect you to know. For our sovereign government's confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price. Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place on the inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGilded perished, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery. My word! In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry, because if the disc were to be discovered before it found its way out of the country, it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it, and in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. So, in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do. I've had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away. Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense. Delighted, I'm sure. The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windibank, that being a most flagitious, well, these are not words in my wheelhouse, offense for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us proceed. You may... Who the fuck was that? You gotta let us have a rabbit and pork here, Governor. We've got things to say. I beg your pardon? Who do you think you are? Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin, but we ain't baddies enough to sell out our motherland. That's right. We're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers. Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. A mere communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway, was it not? I have no relation to the man. Look, all we done is break into the Gap the other night like what he told us to do. If we'd known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. Oh, now they're like going against him? What is happening here? Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. One Mr. will do, Governor. Governor, what's up? Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? That on the night in question, you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally? And moreover, you did so as a party of 3 in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here. We did, Gov. We did. Quieten down, please. What say to you that, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these 2 ruffians are referring to. You little rotter, getting us mixed in with all this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight-up job. And what about the geezer whose shop it was, eh? Poor old bloke didn't have to die, did he? Ah. Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations. Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit it to the court record as evidence. Should I look at it? Maybe I'll take a quick look at it. Anything underneath? What is this? Oh, what is it, Bruno? I've just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom of it opens up as well. Ah, you're right. Well, come on then. What are you waiting for? Let's open it. Okay, here goes. Look at that. There's another movement on the underside. So, does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side? Yes, I think so. And it looks like the 2 movements are linked together. So, they're linked? So if you had 2 discs, they would both play back at the same time. Oh, that's actually kind of important information, is it not? If we have another disc. Who would have thought there would be a second movement on the other side of the box? And this movement is like the other one. The comb's teeth are all the same length. So this movement only produces a single tone like the other one? Yes, it must do. Except that the length of the teeth on the 2 combs isn't the same. So the single note produced by this movement will be different to the single one we've already heard. What? Basically, each movement can only produce a single note, but the notes they produce are different. A music box that can only play 2 notes, 2 tones. Okay, we're gonna have to remember this because it wasn't put in the damn court record. It wasn't updated. Okay, good to know. Maybe it's not important, but maybe it is. They're not. To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent on listening to that music box for even a few seconds. Of course, of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Ouch! Looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance. I would be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. A lesson here in court? Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones. Tones, you say? Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why there's 2 sides. Because, like, one is, like, 1 tone and the other one... Like, because she just said 2 tones. Okay. Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those in different ways, you construct letters. I see. For example, this is A. This is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear one tone, don't you? But it sounds so similar. The rhythm of it is the same and everything. But there's no discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. No! Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in the future. Stop. Nothing to say, but stop. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Iris? I mean, if the government secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things would slot into place so nicely. Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use the music box somehow to play? Do we have another one? I don't think we have. We don't have another disc to use. I mean, we can try it. We just don't have another disc. That's all we need. There's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in leaking government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least. Does it please you in some way, my Nipponi's friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? Infinitum? It's already been established that to be Morse code, 2 tones are required. Dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what? Well, it would appear the defense has a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your idea at once, counsel. How do you propose that this music box, which appears to only produce a single tone, could have been used to cipher secret messages into Morse code? Because there's the underside. Look at this. Boom. Good gracious, what am I looking at? Another movement on the underside of the music box? What? It appears, my lord, that the 2 movements are linked together. In other words, you can put 2 discs in this music box, and the sounds of both will play back at the same time. Good heavens. As the court has heard, Morse code comprises of 2 tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, this music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry. This poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with the second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with McGilded 2 months ago striking a deal. Oh, yeah, he was not the one striking a deal over the disc or discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Mason. Exactly, I had nothing whatsoever to do with it. Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe this cross-examination should continue. The link between Graydon and the victim of the omnibus must be there somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. Oh dear, looks like you need to give your arguments some more strength, Bruno. You will reiterate your testimony if you please, Mr. Graydon. If I must, though I maintain exactly what I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination. No relation. Well, I mean, since he said that, he probably does have some kind of... What's his whole name? Can I look at profiles? Oh, I don't think I can look at profiles, can I? Yeah, what was his name? Graydon... What was his last name? Hold on. Okay, victim... Mason Milverton. Oh, maybe if we press this statement and he might tell us his name. I get the feeling that they're well, he literally says there's no relation, but I get the feeling that they're related somehow. So 2 months ago in that omnibus, McGilded killed the brickmaker and stole the disc. Mr. Mason was a single man with almost nothing to his name. It seems he lived in an artisan quarters some years ago, but people there remember little about him. That doesn't make much sense though, does it? How would a humble brickmaker come to acquire secret government information? How indeed. There must have been somebody else involved behind the scenes in all this. Somebody who acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason, in order to take it to the meeting with McGilded and negotiate a deal. Dear me. You may have it in for me, sir, but I assure you, I have far more class than that. An old brickmaker from an artisan quarter and this well-to-do communications officer. If only I could find some evidence to link the two of them together. If you have nothing more to add on to that note, let us return to the testimony. What was his damn name? Can I not look at his profile? What was his name? Well, maybe it's because I'm in the, whatever now. Like in the... Aww. What was this? All of a sudden, we seem to be up to our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still conjecture at this stage. It would explain a number of things, though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Ginny overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago and the break-in at Windabanks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with Mr. McGilded. No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker who was so horribly murdered. If only there was some link between the two men somehow. I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. I wonder if the key to us making headway with the cross-examination here could be those two. Okay, maybe I should press both of them then. Because he's not telling me his name. Because apparently this dude's name is Milverton? Something Milverton? Mason? Yeah, Mason Milverton. Okay. We need your full name. I forgot. I think he called himself Ashley, didn't he? Ashley? No. He had a different name that he gave. Okay, let's press these two then. Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean? That's it, yeah. Who else, eh? Silly me. Silly me thought he was just popping over for a natter after all them years, but the rotter had a dodgy job for us. Eh, Ash? Right? His name was... He called himself Ashley or something. Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say. Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? We're the sociable kind of baddies, you know? Sure, let's say Graydon's an old China. Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? Hey? No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What? Who, me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a right old laugh together way back when. Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, with Ash. I mean, you look at him now in his fancy whistle and flute, and you wouldn't Adam and Eve it. You wouldn't Adam and Eve it? But when he was younger, he was from the poor part of town, just like us. Is that so? But he was always a leery one. He had the brains, he had the savvy. Always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads. Cor blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Milverton? Oh, Milverton and Skulkin's Milk Run. That was a corker, eh? Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Oi, the geezer asked us the question, didn't he? And we was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong. Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on a trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please? I don't know, could that sentimental story be relevant? Yes! It had his name. Milverton. My lord? Yes, counsel. The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to this case. Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add. Say no more. A skulkin's never skulkin'. Milverton. That's his name. Then Mason Milverton. Oh shit. Well, apparently not. Okay, maybe I'll press it first. I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business? Just a little scheme we had going back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really. Delivering fresh milk to the locals, that's what it was all about. That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate, but on what? The name. So this business was a bit of fun, you say, and it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved. Yeah, that's it. Milverton and Skulkin's Milk Run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton part come from? Oh right, I thought it... Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this drivel? I don't... Let me guess. You don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying? Tell me, why is it that it was only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because, well... It weren't the happiest of homes that one came from. Yeah, as the old man was struggling for money so much, his wife walked out on him. She took the name Graydon then, see. As Ash will always be Milverton. Oh, but Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton? So that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is all bunkum. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of these two thieves? You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon. Well, it would appear that Mr. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable, for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then. Is that correct? Very well, yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change things. And it could turn out to be... I tried getting it. Oh, there you go. Wait. Oh, there you go. See, I can't believe you can't... I mean, I guess it makes sense you can't present profiles anymore. I think that just made the game harder, like in the second one, because that's like the only... I think it's like the only one you can present profiles and stuff. Okay, whose last name was once Milverton. He's a childhood friend of the Skulkin brothers. Okay, we got that bit. I had to press it again. Okay, your name is Milverton? Well, this guy's name was Milverton. Oh, maybe I go back to be like, hey, yo, we had nothing to do with each other. I have no relation. Okay, now will it work? Like, maybe it'll work now, because I can't present his profile. Should I save again? Here, now it'll work. Mr. Ashley Milverton. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name. Explain yourself, please, counsel. I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. As we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand to have been negotiating with McGilded. Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker? That's right, only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton. Milverton? Do you mean to say, saints alive? Mr. Ashley Milverton, is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father? As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you join the civil service, and it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. The truth is, you have been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it to McGilded in collaboration with your father. The new facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded. By dint of this music box, you mean, counsel? Yes, stealing information being sent in secret government communications and selling it on to McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted this elaborate scheme of using 2 music box discs to encode the information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands. And a very effective one. I shouldn't have given the scheme any credence whatsoever. But the deal with McGilded went sour, and the brickmaker met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learnt of the situation, you appeared at Windibank's 2 days ago in an attempt to recover the 2 articles McGilded had placed in pawn there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police, and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. This time, determined to recover the second disc. Are you suggesting that the second disc was inside the music box? Eh? We never knew nothing about that. On the night that Mr. Windibank was killed. The intruder to the pawnbrokery touched one item and one item alone, the music box. As rather ingeniously demonstrated using the 2 prints from the security camera, indeed. So, the question that naturally begs answering is this: why was only that one article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since, if it were to fall into the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all of this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. Sir, there appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket. What? 2 nights ago, we know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Windibank's pawnbrokery. One took the life of the pawnbroker himself. One struck the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm that you seem to be trying to hide, it's a bullet wound, isn't it? He's got you now, me old China. Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon. Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember? And I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly, I was a fool to think I could trust some common backslum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in Windibanks that night. I paid this pair 10 guineas to accompany me. And as you've noticed, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. But that is all. I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets, negotiating with Mr. McGilded. As God is my witness, I'm sure I recall nothing of the sort. He's not going to go down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact, which is... Well, we know that one bullet was fired from each of the two firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun hit the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the bullet from Mr. Windibank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm. Indeed it must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself. And that leads us to only one conclusion. Mr. Windibank was shot by a third gun, which can only have been fired by the third intruder. Goodness. That's right, Mr. Graydon. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank that night is you! Mata! You little upstart. You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, as you rightly say, I was there at the pawnbroker's. I did my best to hide the fact. Naturally, I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I'd built for myself at the communications station. But did the thought never cross your mind? Did you never consider the possibility? What? What do you mean? What thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment? You see? This makes me a key witness in this case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. What? Are you suggesting? I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at that poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You... what? Order! Well, it would seem we are finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial. Mr. Graydon. Yes? I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. It is shown that if it is shown that your claim is false, you will have incriminated yourself as the killer. Oh, I understand fully. Then I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. You will explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim. Nothing would give me greater pleasure. While these ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Windibank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. The accused, in a black coat, shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood spatter all over that wretched girl. then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. Wait, what? Oh, but she was holding a gun, so like... So how could she... I'm just confused now. So what? Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary testimony. You claim, sir, under oath, to have seen the defendant pulling the trigger. Order. It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is it my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. So, you see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now as an act of self-preservation. The truth? Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of these details. Yes, well, sorry about that. Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. And as I said, she was showered in his blood. You say the blood spattered all over the accused's coat? Are you sure on that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over that black overcoat that pickpocket girl was wearing at the time. Oh yeah, wait a second. There was blood on her coat, but... Oh, we didn't get to see... What? There was blood, right? There was blood on her coat, but I guess we don't know whose blood it was? Unless it was... Oh. This is... Oh. Unless it was his... No, it's not his blood. Oh, we don't have it. Oh, damn. I do remember now. I remember that she did have blood on her coat. We just don't know whose... I guess... I can't remember if we figured out whose blood it was or if we just left it. Like, oh my god, there's blood on your coat. If her coat could somehow be shown to harbor vestiges of blood, that would be conclusive evidence here. Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. What? Only very recently, a German scientist has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's to true science, not some amateurish detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry. There's nothing dubious about Hurley's work. His ideas are all sound. Ideas are no use to us here. In science, as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as the basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used. With your lordship's permission, we could shatter all vestiges of doubt within minutes. This doesn't look good, Bruno. Why not? Well, we know, don't we, that there's blood all over the front of Ginny's coat. But they tested with their chemicals. Oh, hell, you're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday. It's true, but we don't know whose blood it was. Don't move, Ginny. I'm going to shoot. Oh, it was purple, so it was the other guy's coat. Oops, sorry, I hit my mic. That's not his blood. Yeah, but that's not Mr. Windibank's blood. That stain from... Oh, yeah! That is true. See, I was like, oh, it's purple, so it's that guy's blood. So wouldn't that mean that he's wrong? But whatever. That's Mr. Mason's blood from when he was stabbed by McGilded, who was wearing the coat at the time. My lord, the defense objects to the test proposed by the prosecution. Overruled. Lord Van Dykes, make it so at once. With pleasure, my lord. And while we await the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination. Once they find that blood on the overcoat, Gina will be... Counsel! Yes, my lord. Your cross-examination. Of course, my lord. This cross-examination doesn't go well. If I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence or a really compelling clue now, I have a very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. Mr. Windibank emerged from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo and Nash were scouring the counter when he suddenly appeared and flew at them. He already had a revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I wasn't too close. I've never been so scared in all my life. Yeah, we're just your regular mild-mannered burglars, that's all. We don't like violence. Says the pair who carry a gun. What do you mean when you say you weren't near the entrance to the shop? I was in the doorway, running my eyes over the shelves of forfeited items. Looking for the music box, of course. The broker went for Nash in the first place. Then Ringo joined in, making it 2 against 1, so I assumed they could handle the situation. But I was wrong. I was trying to help me little bruv, but the geezer chucked me over the bloomin' counter. So I pulled me gun on the old fella. Ain't that... and that soon made him scarper. The pair of you setting upon the poor defenseless pawnbroker together? Shame on you. Sorry, Gov. You mean that's the moment you were shot? Yes, though I didn't immediately realize what had happened, of course. Things crashed to the floor from the counter as the 3 men were brawling. It was that at exactly that moment that it happened, so I didn't hear the gunshot. And the bullet went on to strike the calendar in the wall behind you, so it would appear. When I looked at my arm, I saw it was bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. Seeing as I couldn't explain what had happened to a doctor, I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. I didn't imagine it would still be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Windibank intend to shoot you, do you think? Well, no. I don't imagine he even noticed I was there, to be honest. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally. Anyway, it didn't quite strike home. When I pulled me gun on him, he tried to shove me out the way. And then he scarpered through that door out back. At which point, what did you do? You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. And what about this peephole in the door you mentioned? Well, unsurprisingly, the storeroom door is a solid job, made of stout wood. But there's a small opening in it about head height that lets you see what's what in there from outside. Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? I looked through it myself that night. And what about your burgling brothers? Did you see what went on through this peephole as well? Not likely, Gov. Didn't see nothing of the sort, Gov. I doubt these 2 buffoons were even aware of the peephole's existence. So the Skulkin brothers were there, but they didn't see the killing of Mr. Windibank take place. Inside the storeroom, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there. The defendant? Yes, though neither of them noticed that I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight at the man. And then, what did you see next? Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was found with a gun in her hand, but that was Mr. Windibank's gun, from which only a single bullet had been fired. And as we've already established, Mr. Graydon, that bullet was fired at you. Oh, but no, it wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet from Windibank's gun grazed my arm, and yes, the Skulkin's gun grounded the detective. But this was another gun entirely, a third gun. The broker's gun was not the murder weapon, so clearly there had to be a third firearm involved. In other words, the accused must have had her own gun with her at the time. But no other gun was found at the scene. Calm yourself, counsel. Sorry, you must consider the events in order. At first I saw the broker and the girl glaring at each other, but then, all of a sudden, the broker turned to run, and it was at that moment that the little gutter rat shot him in the back. A chilling image, I must say. All over her? Yes, through the peephole I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains are invisible now, what with the coat being such a dark color. But I assure you, that garment is sullied with the victim's blood. Well, it is sullied with blood, that's for sure. But it's not Mr. Windibank's blood, is it? No, that's right. It's Mr. Mason Milverton's blood from when McGilded stabbed him 2 months ago. So annoying. If they'd only accept Hurley's chemical analysis, we could prove that. But they won't, so unfortunately we can't use it as evidence to support our case. Bother. Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room? That's right. After the broker fell to the floor, she started walking over. Over where, exactly? In the direction of the storeroom door, to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated. And then, the girl dropped the gun through the peephole onto the floor on my side of the door. Oh, but why on earth would she do such a thing? I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went and picked it up. I suppose I was worried about just leaving it there in case any more tragedies took place. So it was you, in fact, who took the third gun from the scene of the crime? Yes, it was yours truly. The clear up to my lackeys and I left. Clear up? We made a bit of a mess around the counter, so Mr. Whistled and Flute Ear told us to tidy up. He thinks he's our bloomin' mum sometimes. Well, I was paying you enough, by God. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? You're like a bull at a gate. What the fuck? What are you doing? A gentleman? Something wrong, Sunshine? That should be my line. You do realize you were just violently shaking Mr. Skulkin? Blimey, this D's a bit of a hooligan, ain't he? What was going on just now? You saw him, he grabbed me whistle. Why the blazes, he said. Why didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down to the station? And why didn't you? 'Cause we didn't know nothing about it. Or that flaming peephole in the door. Sorry about that. I can be prone to losing my rags sometimes. Not hurt, are you? Court, blind. You see the way he's looking at me? I'm telling ya, this D gives me the willies. That was strange. The inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He wouldn't normally grab someone. No, that wasn't like Gregsy at all. He's normally all sweetness and light, no matter what I say to him. Yes, well, I think you might be a special case, Iris. Well, anyway, that was definitely out of character. My lord. Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Explain yourself, officer. I have the result of the test that was ordered earlier, my lord. The blood on the accused's overcoat. Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection? No, my lord. Well, there you have it. The report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. From the extent of the stains, it would appear that they were the result of spattering following a gunshot wound. End of report. Goodness me. See, what did I tell you? No, that blood on the coat is not Mr. Windibank's. What on earth makes you say that, counsel? The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Windibanks, McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on that overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the omnibus case. Well, the dead cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Nipponi's friend? Sorry? 2 months ago, in this very courtroom, did you not argue fervently for McGilded's innocence, and yet now that the man is dead, you brand him as a murderer? Your conduct shatters my shred of respect you may have earned yourself in this country. But that was... I call it bally disgrace. Treachery, that's what it is. How to determine whether the blood on that coat is 2 months old or not? Even a stereoscope couldn't help with the answer to that help the answer to that problem pop out. Can't be done. But we used Mr. Sholmes' specialty formula. Mr. Sholmes is a detective, not a chemist. Would you put such faith in a chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer? I held out Perotsky to starving boy, and he ran away crying. Herlock Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public's imagination. His name carries no weight in this courtroom. No weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. This proves that my testimony is the whole truth from start to finish. How do you arrive at such how do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir? As the witness said, the accused's overcoat was spattered with the blood of the victim. The only way Mr. Graydon could possibly have known that fact is if he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. My lord. Been a long battle, this one, but this old warhorse has something to say now, if you please. Mr. Foreman? As of this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final decision. Ready, men? All for one now. Sir!
Yuzai!
Yuzai!
Yuzai! Yuzai!
Yuzai!
Yuzai!
Well, it would appear the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached a unanimous verdict. The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you may take at unpicking the jurors' decisions being equally successful. I don't believe it. After I've come so far, how is this all unraveling on me so fast? How very distressing to be held in such low esteem. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Officer? You delivered the report now. That will be all. Thank you. It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo, that scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. Am I going mad? Mr. Sholmes? What is the meaning of this? Man, you couldn't get this outfit for him? Order. What business do you have here, detective? The last I heard, you were recuperating in hospital. As well I would be, had I not been set up on upon an errand. What errand? Hurley, it's really you. You're awake. Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies. Now, my lord, if you will humor me. In what manner, sir? I have something of great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind as to spare us the time? What say you to this, Lord Van Zykes? This trial has taken many hours of the court's time, having spent so long already. Exactly, having spent so long already, we don't want to go wasting any more precious time. As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes. Very well then. Counsel, you have 5 minutes. Oh, he changed. My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, are you alright now? Alright? I'm all wrong. Sorry? I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I asked the judge for 5 minutes. But I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me should I pass out. Let's make this discussion as short as possible. Hurley, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is. Ah, well, that concoction of mine was really just a bit of sport to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community, an oversight on my part. Right. Modesty? Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What's that? A lavender furoshiki wrapping? A leaving present from Miss Susato. From Miss Susato? If possible, matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Miss Susato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhand, and that you, Mr. Naruhodo, fighting fairly as you are, won't do, would find yourself in considerable peril. At that very moment of crisis, you are to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present from Susato? What could it be? What is this? Oh, it's the machine I made. Oh. Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. What is it? I call it the cat flap-o-mat. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Wagi. This is important? What the fuck? What's Susie up to? Miss Susato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? That's extremely flattering, but I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes? That night, when you left Windibanks in pursuit of thieves, Miss Susato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. That is your answer, dear fellow. Not at all cryptic, then. Susato used this that night? But why? Okay. Your 5 minutes is over. We're out of time already? I'm grateful to you for affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder... Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me? I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. My lord, the defense requests... Well, he was lying, technically, so... I need to question him more. Further cross-examination. The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine a new witness now. The defense is not asking further cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue with the one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. Oh, he did say that. He said interrupt the cross-exam. Oh yeah, suspended! It's suspended. Temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection. So nobody can say anything then. If Bruno asks to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon, the court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd. I would remind those present that this is my courtroom. I concur that the defense is entirely within its rights to request the continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of these proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness's testimony and but one piece of evidence to present in support of your argument against it. A single chance to present evidence. Okay, I'm gonna save. I think that's what this game is. That's what this game is trying to tell me. If following that the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to adjudication. Is that clear, counsels? You will not press the witness any further, my lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's high time I fell in a dead faint. I leave this in your capable hands. Mr. Sholmes. Like, man, the drama king. It's okay, we could just lean him up against our bench or something. To stand so insouciantly. These are not words normally used by people, I swear. Before the court in a state of such high fever. Either the man has extraordinary strength of mind or an extraordinary lack of feeling. I imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man when he's down, why don't you? Okay, well then, counsel, are you fully prepared? Yes. One statement. One piece of... Well, it has to be the one that we just got, so... Like it's literally the last thing we got, so we have to use it. I'm going to assume that's the evidence, but I have to reread his statements. And I won't waste this final chance that Susato has given me. Is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial. Very well done. Under the terms I've outlined, you may resume the cross-examination.